Last week was a big milestone when we all finally got to see how Arabella looks without her molds.
Alright, that's it. No more molds.
This week, we'll cross another big thing off our list.
Well, I'd say it's a hot fire.
As we steam in the last of her bent frames.
We've got 2 more oak boards to mill up for framing stock. Ben and Connor made quite some strides on that the other day. So Ben and I are gonna wrap that up this morning and then continue milling up the framing stock so we can get the frames bent in. And Aaron here is gonna wrap up the last of the cedar planking. So we got the last cedar plank for now, and we got it clamped on the stem, fastened down the midship, and it's bent back there in the stern, but we never got around to fastening it. So he's gonna wrap that up while we finish prepping the bent stock. And we have a list here for anyone keeping score.
For all you fans at home.
Yeah, all you fans at home keeping score. So on the starboard side, cedar number 4 went on, cedar number 3, and on the port side, number 4 is done, and number 3 is close to done. Aaron's gonna wrap that up today. And then stop planking for now. We're gonna work on some of the deck structure. And then we have 2 cedar planks and the shear streak to go, and our 5 oaks down here that'll come in a little later. We got all the framing stock down to final size here, and the next step is to figure out where in the boat it wants to be. So some of these have a little bit of sapwood on the corner, or they've got a knot or some other defect, and doesn't mean they're unusable, it just means that we got to try to figure out where they want to be so that those defects end up getting lopped off. So we got some that are shorter, some that are longer, and I'm going to go through the boat and just kind of figure out where each of them wants to go and what makes the most sense. And then it'll give us an idea if we can get all of the frames out of this lot, or if we should go mill up a couple more. And I think if we have to mill up a couple more, it will just be a couple more. There's quite a few in here, and there's quite a few really, really nice ones. And then we can taper the ends to sit down between the keel timber and the planking, and then we can split them and steam them. So hopefully we'll be steaming in just a couple days. Cool guys, thanks. Back to work. How's this ladder platform working for in and out and whatnot?
Pretty good for me.
Yeah.
I've been set up in Ben's way for like the whole time.
We are trying to get the frames here to notch down between the planking and the center line.
And through most of the boat, it's not really too difficult to do. It's fairly straight. Some places, there's not even this little valley here, and you just got to cut a bevel on the bottom. So Aaron's been blowing through those pretty efficiently. And Ben's been up here working on the stem, where it is by far and away the trickiest. And this is the shape that we are trying to create. So Ben and I worked on that a little bit today and trying to figure out how to pull these measurements. I've done a little bit of joinery like this, but nothing quite this crazy. So what we did was figure out where we want it to be, and then mark over from the center line here, make a mark on the planking, and then measure down. So we get, what is this, a little over 2 inches. And then we measure the same distance down, up, and then square across, because we're going to be square to the planking. And that's just over an inch, just over an inch. And that gives us the shape of this little triangle here. Can't talk if the ruler's in my mouth. And then we put the bevel gauge on, and the bevel gauge has got to be on at the same angle that this is going to come down. Because if you rotate the bevel gauge, it's going to intersect the keel timber at a different angle. And we can put the bevel gauge on there, trace that line down. And then we do the same thing on the other side. So if we come over to the keel timber here, square across, we want to start our mark 1/2 inch up. And that'll make up for the difference of the slope of the timber. And then we'll start from that mark, which makes up for this difference, and then measure up the distance for the point.
Okay, that's putting this 1/2 inch lower than
That side.
that, and that's what's
That's what's accounting for the
right.
slope.
Right, that's the 1/2 inch I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you add that 1/2 inch in, and then starting from that added 1/2 inch mark, you figure out how deep your pocket needs to be, measure that up, how wide it needs to be, square that across, put the bevel gauge in there, and then run your bevel gauge out.
Yep.
And then just go around and connect all the lines.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a funny shape you're coming up with.
Yeah. No, like I probably.
And it's amazing that you make it with, I mean, it's 2 saw cuts.
Right, but figuring out where to put it and how they intersect, and it's very cool. It's just some dark magic.
Well, I'd say it's a hot fire. I wonder if we're gonna melt the stovepipe. So here's the timesheet. So port 7 went in at 6. It'll come out at 8.
Okay.
And when that one comes out at 8, port 5 needs to go in.
So do that in and out.
Yeah, and then it's 6:20, so starboard 7 just went in. It'll come out at 8:20. When starboard 7 comes out, starboard 5 needs to go in.
Okay.
And as long as we stick to this and don't mess it up, we should be done with the last one at 2:20 p.m.
Wow.
So there's lots of wiggle room. Like if we mess up the pattern, or we need a longer break, or we need to we break a couple, we need to steam a couple extra. We got some wiggle room. But I would love it if we can be really tight on that schedule. In the past, folks that have done this have gone through and set a ton of alarms in their phone. I don't know, however you want to do it.
All right, coming up.
Alright, you gotta run it onto the port side.
Okay.
That's okay. Yep. Alright, stand. Alright. Yep. Alright, very easy and easy. Up nice and easy. Yep. Okay, Aaron, you start pushing against that. Alright, you guys keep working together, work those clamps up. I'm gonna throw a bolt in down here. Alright, can you do that one? Okay, in Aaron.
We need a clamp on the cedar.
Pat on the cedar. Alright, let's take this one out. We got a big split here, and we got a split down low. Okay. We can move it a little bit when we go to fasten, as long as we get the shape here. Okay, looks good. Can I get another one? Yeah, I'll go up to the. Oh. Yeah, too much. All right, that one's done. Well, so far we're 3 for 3. So the first two in the stern bent in beautifully, no issues there. And then we came forward a little bit, and we immediately broke 2. So you can see there's an empty bay here, an empty bay there. Both of those broke. And then this one just went in. So it's still nice and warm to the touch. And that bent in just fine. And its mate on the other side broke. So broken, broken, broken. Went in beautifully, went in beautifully, went in beautifully. So now we are moving forward, and we'll see how they go. The churn at the bilge becomes less severe, but we do get more churn right up and around here above the water line. So we're less likely now to break down here and more likely to break up here. But we'll see how they go. The forward 4 have not much shape to them at all. So those, fingers crossed, shouldn't give us a hard time. I'd be pretty happy if we only broke the 3 frames today, but we'll see. Yeah, knock on wood.
Time to get up. You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Cool.
Rock and roll. Awesome, there's something on the bottom. It's an easy one. Through the window?
Okay. Nice and easy, down we go. All right, Justin, you want to help him just? Oh, actually, never mind.
No.
Put my weight down here.
Yeah, actually, can you guys pull it nice and hard? Can you support down here? With your feet. Try to flatten it out. Thanks. Okay. All right, Aaron, you can run back up. That seems good. All seems well so far. All right, we can come off the strap. I will need some pads. Okay. And get prepped with some clamps.
Here's 5 pads. 4.
Oh, yeah, clamps. Cool. This one's taking a real weird twist to it.
It's pretty extreme up here.
Yeah, I gotta be careful. Try to slowly work it out. Quickly work it out before it gets too cool.
Slowly, quickly.
Slowly, quickly. Could you support that? Yep, yep.
I don't think
Finish your sentence.
it didn't have it.
I see shaky.
Okay, Aaron, push against me pretty hard. Here you go, and towards the stern if you can. Yeah, there we go.
I got one for the outside.
Okay, I'm gonna need a clamp. Cool. Amazing, great, beautiful, nice.
We're winning.
Knock on all the wood.
Man against wood.
Okay, you guys can release on the strap. Okay, Aaron, hard towards me. Yeah, a little more. Okay, set her down. Whew. All right, how much time we got till the next one? Is this our hour break, or are they still coming hot and heavy?
We've got 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Cool. So you can see all the freshly steamed ones in, because they are not oiled. They stand out pretty well in the hull right now. So we got one to go in there, and then one more to go here. So we had 14 blank spots to fill, and we managed to fill 12 of them by the end of the day. So we've got 2 more frames to put in. Aaron and I are working on those now. So these are our 2 replacement frames. Aaron just cutting the bevel on the bottom. Thankfully these 2 just sit on the keel timber, so it's just a straight bevel. It's pretty easy to do. And we have the ones that didn't steam in and broke to pull the angles from, so pretty easy. And the bandsaw is still set up to split them, so we're gonna split them twice, so we got 3 laminates, and see if we can get them to bend in. And if we break these, we'll go pick another piece and make another one, but hopefully these two will survive. The stock looks pretty good. I don't see why it wouldn't. So we're gonna split them twice so that there are 3 layers that we're bending. And we're just gonna set up probably the steam generator in here and put the frames in here, bag them, do them one at a time. It's not worth firing up the huge steamer just to do 2 frames. And hopefully we'll get those bent in. And then after that, we gotta pop them all out, give them a sand, clean them up a little bit, paint them, bed them, fasten them. But a few more days here and we'll have 100% framing done, which will be a great box to check on the long list of things to do.
What happens when you work with a guy that likes to see himself in film all the time.
Yeah.
We're adjusted.
That's exactly why I film everything, because I want to see myself.
How's my hair?
Cool. That's that. All the frames are bent in. Good work, guys. I am happy. Well, that's a wrap. So we have all the frames in Arabella. I just counted, there's 70 of them in total. Till now, I didn't really even know how many there were. I never bothered counting. I'm really happy. This has been great getting the frames in. Crew's been working really hard, and we've been making a lot of progress lately, which has been really awesome to see after how long of a slog the planking has been. Just, you know, it's a steep learning curve. Never really done it before. I'm sure if I went and planked another boat, it would go a heck of a lot quicker. We've certainly got faster at it as we've gone along.
Thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget to subscribe and get notified of new videos every Friday. Next week, after we finish bolting down the new frames, Steve begins work on Arabella's deck structure. So until then, thanks for following the journey.